all ages.
Well, try that
again. Welcome, children, boys and girls, children of all ages, people watching at home and around the world. I am Sean Hood. That is Dave Taylor.
How's it going, everybody? It's always forget it's the opposite way on these on this lens.
Yeah, I had to learn to do it.
I think I would know by now.
Yeah. We are Eat, Sleep, Podcast, Repeat. We're the hosts anyway, and this is FM 99 and the Fox's first and only wrestling podcast. We've got a big show for you here. Since 2017, the #1 wrestling podcast on FM99.com.
That's right.
And thefox.com. So, yeah, #1. Granted, there was no competition, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. In any event, we got a big show for you tonight. We're going to talk about NXT Takeover. We're talking about Summerslam. It's a lot to throw at you, so we're going to dive right in. Let's get the business out of the way. As you see at the bottom of the screen right there, 1069thefox.com and FM99.com. Easiest ways to find us, right under the media tab. You go ahead and click the media link, click ESPR, and boom, you're right there to our feed. Our feed will take you to our most recent episodes and all of our available episodes, which can be found on all of your major podcasting apps. Just go ahead and search ESPR Wrestling, and you can find us everywhere. SoundCloud, TuneIn, iTunes, Stitcher, Google, everywhere podcasts are podded or casted. Yeah. I don't know which the correct verb is.
Even Spotify, too. We're all over the place.
We are all over the place. If you're listening to us, make sure you please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating and a review. That's incredibly important to us. That's honestly more important. People have asked about buying shirts and this, that, and the other thing. And look, the most important thing you can do for us is give us a 5-star rating and a review. It is not a joke. It helps us move it. The more people do that, the more eyes we get put in front of on these podcasting services. So if you can do it, big help. Thank you so much.
And turn your notifications on so you know when we go live, which is once or twice a week, depending on.
And that's on Facebook.com/ESPR99 or on the Twitter at ESPR99. And you can make sure, again, if you want to follow us on there, like and turn on your notifications, because then when we go live like we are right now, you'll know that we're live and you can join in the discussion and talk to us, which, by the way, you're more than welcome to do. Throw in some questions, comments, concerns, whatever you'd like, concerning TakeOver, concerning SummerSlam, concerning anything you want, really. Maybe
stuff, 205 Live if we watch it when we can.
We get questions about all sorts of stuff, ROH, New Japan, this, that, and the other thing. So by all means, we'll go ahead and we'll address that at some point. But today, it's a big show. We got 2 reviews to do. One weekend, lots of wrestling. NXT Takeover. We'll start there. Takeover 30, the 30th anniversary. I say 30th anniversary, not really year-wise, but show-wise. It's the 30th Takeover they've produced.
Yeah, it was weird because it was the Triple X thing,
Yeah. I thought that was particularly weird when Velveteen Dream came out. But anyways, in any event, Takeover. Dave, I'm sure you have the card pulled over right there, so we'll go ahead and just dive right in.
Yeah, I do. They had one match on the pre-show, which was the triple threat tag match, the term of the #1 contenders, which was Breezango in the match, taking on Danny Lorcan, Oni Lorcan, Danny Burch.
Danny Lorcan and Oni Burch, yes.
Yes. Legado del Fantasma. So.
Yeah, Legado del Fantasma, specifically Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza. They were actually my picks to win because I figured Fantasma would end up looking strong. Surprised, Breezango picked up the win. I guess that makes sense, though, given the fact that the champions are Imperium.
Yeah. And, it's I would love to see Breezango get some gold at some point. I mean, they've been troopers. They've been around a long time. Don't see that happening here, but a nice one for them. You know what
I'd like to see them do? I'd like to see them change their act up a little bit, because the kind of male stripper goofy routine, it's not really playing great in 2020 NXT.
But it's not as silly as it used to be. I mean, I thought they're better.
No, it's not.
They wrestle so much better in NXT than they do in WWE. It's so frustrating.
Well, of course, because they get more time and they're allowed to do more. I mean, we know that for a fact. It's 2 vastly different worlds between NXT and the main roster, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit because that's a big deal. But a good match, really entertaining. All the guys were good in it. I personally would have preferred, knowing that it was Imperium, so I should have picked one of the face teams to win. I would have preferred to see Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch versus Imperium, because I think that would have been a hell of a match. Breezango will be a good match too. I just would have liked to have seen the hard-hitting European style with Lorcan and Burch. Those guys are very stiff as well, so I would have really enjoyed that. But regardless, good match. Breezango gets the win. Fantasma protected because they're not the ones that take the fall.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Then the show officially opens. Finn Balor versus Timothy Thatcher.
Disappointed, not because the match wasn't good. It was. I'm one of these people who enjoys the MMA things that look like a fight. I enjoy that more than the overly scripted, choreographed stuff. And this looked more like a fight than just about any match Balor has had. Specifically, since
it was a different style. It was definitely a different style.
There was a great moment in there where he's in there with Thatcher, who is a submission specialist. That's his thing. And he's in there, and he goes for the coup de grace and misses and tweaks his knee. And there's this great moment where he rolls over, he's holding his knees in pain. And you see the look on Thatcher's eyes like he smells blood in the water because he sees that injured knee. And Finn realizes that. He looks up at Thatcher and sees him, and he yells, "No!" And then Thatcher runs at him and grabs the leg. Like the panic in Finn's face was great because again, storytelling in the match. I thought it was great. And I'm a sucker for things that look like they hurt. I don't always want something that's the coolest move necessary. I want things that look like you just messed that dude up. And Thatcher is really good at that. Him and Balor, again, a different style of match. But if you like those MMA style, it's not an MMA fight, but it's that kind of MMA influence style to the match.
But it kind of like almost set up like where the show is going, because I just maybe because where the show was, it without the crowd, it just felt different and like different than other shows that they've had. But this one, we'll get to the matches.
NXT more than any other brand, I feel like, at least in WWE's world, is the one suffering the most from the lack of crowds. Raw and SmackDown, now we'll talk about them here in a little bit in the changes, but up until recently, they've suffered without the crowd as well, but it hasn't been as bad. NXT really thrives because a lot of Raw and SmackDown crowds, I'm sorry, they sit on their hands.
They do, because it's a casual fan.
You're right.
They're not hardcore fans.
The NXT fan base is passionate and loud. And so it's a big deal that they're not there.
Except for the one guy that sits behind us and then yells this stupid chants the whole time. That's part of the problem too. I think when you go to these shows, people think they're cool. They're like, I'm going to chant random chants. Charlotte stinks, whatever. And I'm like, I can't hear what's going on. You're taking me out of the show.
Yeah, I'm more distracted by you being dumb than I am by the match. By the way, disappointing is Timothy Thatcher was on. The reason I was disappointed with the match was Timothy Thatcher is on my fantasy wrestling league.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't get the points for that. I was really hoping for some submission points win.
Gotcha. Finn Balor with the most NXT Takeover wins, by the way, continues the streak.
Yes.
The next match was the ladder match for the vacant NXT North American Championship. Bronson Reed versus Damian Priest versus Cameron Grimes versus Johnny Gargano versus the other guy. So we discussed Friday because Erin didn't know, because that was her pick, and then I said, "Well, go look him up," and she said, "Okay, that's not my pick."
Right, she changed all of a sudden. Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now. Well, here's the thing: we're not going to address that right now. No. You can clearly tell we have an opinion on that, but we're not going to talk about it right now. We're going to talk about the match. He was in the match. We're just going to address it. I'm going to say this right now. I thought everybody looked great in this match, and this is not bias. I thought he was the only one who didn't look that great in this match. He looked fine. He was there, but I thought everybody else stood out so much more.
It was weird because it almost they looked dumb at one point because when he reached up and he goes, "Oh, the belt's right there."
Yeah, he hit it with his hand. I mean, I get what they were going for, and that could have happened to anybody, so I'm not holding that against him. Yeah. But I just, as far as spots in the match and the stuff they were doing, he's the one who stood out to me the least.
Yeah,
the Dream is the one who stood out the least in a match. That should go to show you the talent that was in this match.
Yeah, the dump. I will say the dump off the ladder he took into.
Oh, vicious! Yeah, crazy.
Whatever. Crazy. Wasn't saying. Okay, who was it that jumped off that had Candice Lee?
Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed.
Yeah, Bronson Reed. Yeah,
he jumped onto Johnny.
Yeah. Wow. That was a great spot. Because usually it's like, well, why are you jumping off the ladder? But that was well done.
Right.
To take her out and to take Johnny out. I felt like there's I enjoyed the match, but I felt like there's too many spots at times where they try to.
But that's these multi-man ladder matches. They're always going to be, these kind of car crash. There's always going to be a lot happening. It's not going to slow down a whole lot, and especially in NXT, we know that's going to be the case.
Yeah, but there's a couple of spots I just felt like it was too cute for being a ladder match. For that makes
sense. I enjoyed it overall. I thought it was a really good match. Damian Priest and Cameron Grimes are both on my fantasy league, so I was really invested in this match. Every time Cameron or Damian's going up there, I'm like, "Oh, come on!"
They did a good job with everybody had
almost wins. Yeah. Yeah, the fake wins were really good. The fake outs were really good. They were really well done. And you can tell that it's a different production crew from the main WWE crew because they didn't give away that somebody was about to stop them most of the time.
Yeah.
And that kills me when it happens on the main roster because they'll have somebody who's at this moment, they're like, oh, they could win. And then all of a sudden they pan out and show you the guy climbing back in the ring. And it's like, what? No, just stay on the guy until the ladder starts tipping or something like that. Then show him to me. You know, it's like who was it? Johnny Gargano was up on the ladder and he was like, he's up there. He thinks he's by himself. And all of a sudden he realizes Damian Priest is behind him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like Priest just kind of stood up behind him. It was well shot. I was like, that was great. But really, really well done. Everybody looked good. Cameron Grimes, I want them to dial back the goofy on him just a little. I enjoy the character. But I want them to dial back the goofy just a little because he is so talented. Well, I just don't want him to get stuck.
But I think it may, when there's crowds, whenever that may be, that's going to connect. And,
without a doubt.
Because I liked him because I thought like, oh, this is going to be the guy that's going to win. I mean, I was surprised that Damian.
I thought he might, yeah.
But I don't have a problem with Damian winning because I thought he's been doing great. But I thought Cameron was going to be the guy. It's the way he was presented, and I was like, oh, sometimes they tip their hand. It's like, okay, it's him. It's got to be him. I'm loving this character.
He's the only thing I'm concerned about in this. Again, in NXT, like you said, when the crowds come back, that's going to work. My concern is when he gets off of NXT, he will be pigeonholed as that character.
Yeah,
as the goofy character, and I don't want that. I want him to dial it back, find a more a tone that can be taken seriously, while also not losing the root of the character, but a tone that can be taken seriously, so that when he gets to the main roster, he's got a more dialed-in version of the character, and not just the goofy.
Like Elias Sampson when he's had this whole drifter kind of thing.
Oh my God, yes, that.
All right, the next match. Holy cow,
dude.
Hats off. Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee, match of the night, because it exceeded expectations.
Okay, this was your match of the night. Got it.
Because I thought this was going to be like I don't want to say a comedy fest because Adam Cole doesn't do that style.
No, but you thought it was going to be more shtick. Like it was going to be it was going to be more about embarrassing Pat McAfee than it was about having a match.
Yeah, it may be like there'd be like too much outside interference where it was just going to get old, and they got rid of that quickly. They got rid of all those guys that was there. Heck of a spot with the flip.
Oh my gosh, the senton, like that was crazy, and it was so well done. Yeah, it wasn't like he kind of just dove off, like kind of rolled forward. He leapt and flipped like that was. Look,
eat your heart out, Rob Gronkowski.
But yes, eat your heart out, Rob Gronkowski. This punter just made you look like a punk. The Pat McAfee may have had one of the best celebrity matches of all time. I like you never see people show up that ready to go. He don't get me wrong. Am I saying he'd go out there and have a 5-star match every week? No. This was clearly heavily rehearsed because it was this one match he was going to do. Yeah. And Adam Cole carried him through it and made him look like $1 million. But Pat McAfee stepped up and 100% met his end of the match.
And Adam Cole, big part of that, as you mentioned, who's been our wrestler of the year for last year. But we talked about this last week, was how great Pat was on the microphone. I didn't expect that he was good in commentary, but when he came out and cut that promo, and then he starts the match thing on Sunday on Takeover, and I'm like, wow, like then we find out.
I'm going to tell you this. I think they did this to us on purpose because at the beginning of the match, he locks in a side headlock on Cole, and it's repetitive, and it happens for several minutes. And I was like, oh, it's going to be this kind of match. Like I was really worried that it's going to be this overly simplistic. Like, all right, I get it. He doesn't know how to do a lot. They got to stay simple. Then they blew that out of the water, and I enjoyed that so much because it's almost like they did that on purpose. Like they were like, we know you're expecting this. So we're gonna tease you that that's what it's gonna be, and then we're gonna take the blockers off. You know what I mean, and just let these guys go, which was awesome.
Yeah, moved off the top rope and just
very good. And he took a beautiful Panama sunrise like a pile driver. Like that was amazing.
Who takes that? If you're not a wrestler, Now the story is, as we know, Cole won the match. Is that Pat saying that this was it? He's one and done.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but if he sticks around, I'm fine with that too. I mean,
if he's going to take it this seriously, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Again, whatever your thoughts are, let us know in the comments if you happen to be watching along with us here. We'd love to know your thoughts on the show. What was your match of the night? Up next, after Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee, another good match. A little overshadowed by the previous match, but a very good match. A very good match. Io Shirai, the defending champion, against Dakota Kai with Raquel Gonzalez.
It was a different style for Shirai. I thought because it's really weird because like Dakota could play it differently because she could be a mat wrestler, which she was more in this match, or she could be, the high flyer.
I like that. I like that. She's. I think, being more of a heel now, I think she's focusing more on keeping it on the ground.
Yeah.
And that's how you counter somebody whose nickname is the Genius of the Sky, by not letting them get off the ground.
Yeah.
Dakota, I think, is working this heel character to perfection. Raquel Gonzalez is playing the big man role. You know what I mean? Like the Big Daddy Cool Diesel role.
Yeah.
As good as anybody's played it, like the Big Dad heater next to the other character. She's playing the Diesel to Dakota Kai, Shawn Michaels, better than anybody's played that role probably since then.
Yeah, and then,
she's fantastic.
And afterwards with Shirai retained
Rhea interface.
Pretty good match. Yeah, Rhea comes back, and Rhea and Raquel, which is interesting to see somebody's Raquel size, because usually you would see.
The only thing that bothered me about that is they seem to be setting up between Rhea Ripley and Mercedes Martinez, and all of a sudden we shifted to Raquel Gonzalez, and I was like, okay, that was a little of an odd shift, but I mean, I'm fine with it. I want to see it, but it just seemed odd for them to shift away. Maybe they realized Mercedes is like a big match, and Mercedes and Rhea, and they're like, all right, well, let's draw that out a little bit. Let's not give it away right away. If we do that right away, one of them has to lose. Yeah, and we don't want to do that right now because Ripley, Ripley's still rebuilding, and Mercedes is on her current push. Like, she's just getting started, so they can't take the feet out from under either of them.
Yeah, all right.
But again, good match. Yeah. Oh, one more match.
Good. I didn't think it was like my favorite match. I like Shirai.
No,
it's all right, but
I thought it was very good.
Yeah, there's one more match on the card.
Yes, there is one more match on the card. That match would happen to be the main event of the evening. And it is the championship match, the NXT championship match. Keith Lee, the NXT champion, defending against Karrion Kross with Scarlett.
I didn't like this.
I did. See, this is going to go back to, this one was more like a fight than it was like one of these NXT matches. It's so funny because it didn't go that long and it was more like a fight. And Dave's like, I'd rather have the 35-minute kick-out fest.
It was a 20-minute match.
That's a basic length main event match, Dave.
It felt like it took out Keith Lee being Keith Lee. But that was kind of the point. Well, I understand you want to make Karrion, what is like 7th match, I think, in NXT.
Yeah.
Look like this monster, but I just never felt like Keith could ever get anything going to kind of have Karrion respond from that. I just never felt like.
But first of all, this is more than Karrion has sold in
True.
NXT.
Okay.
It's also more than he's sold. Oh, sure. You're getting choppy. You're getting choppy there, Dave. You got choppy for a minute. We lost you. Oh no. We got to catch up.
Oh, okay.
All right. I think we're back.
All right,
okay.
So, yes, he did sell. I will give you that.
Yeah. And he hasn't sold much at all in NXT. In the independents, it was the same deal. So him selling as much as he did for Keith Lee was a big deal. But the point is to put over Keith Lee as his Karrion Kross as his unstoppable force. And Keith Lee, the point there was to be that Keith Lee couldn't even get going against Karrion. Like that was what they were trying to go for, is that Keith he did some stuff, but like essentially couldn't get out of the starting blocks against Karrion because Karrion was that overwhelming. And so the idea being, who the hell is going to take the title off of Karrion Kross? So
yeah, I don't know right now because
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good match.
Yeah, I know, maybe because it's the style, it just felt sluggish. Not that I don't want like high flying, but it just felt like.
Well, because we're used to Keith Lee wrestling, like he does different stuff. Like he'll do crazy high flying stuff. He'll do, all sorts. Yeah. He doesn't always do the slow, super heavyweight style match. I think he only did one of those in all of his series with Dijakovic, who, missing in action.
Maybe he's in a group we'll talk about.
I really hope he's not.
By the way, Karrion Kross, shoulder injury, by the way.
Oh, no, I didn't hear about that.
Yes. So the reports are he's got a separated shoulder. He does not believe it's going to lead to a big absence.
Well, that's good because
this happened in the match. Keith Lee hit him with a clothesline near the ropes.
Okay.
And he took a lot of the brunt of Keith's momentum. So we'll see. I mean, I know they wanted to change because I know they wanted to get Keith to.
Then, knowing that he had a separated shoulder in the match, I'm even more impressed that he did that Saito suplex off the ropes because Keith's a big boy to be getting off the ropes like that.
And there's no momentum there.
That's the point of the Saito suplex is these guys don't really, they're not jumping really for it. He's throwing them. Yeah. And it was vicious. But some people were like, oh, it came out of nowhere. And I'm like, not really. He's been doing Saito suplexes to everybody for weeks. He just didn't choke Keith out. That's all.
No. I knew something was going to happen, and I hate saying this during a wrestling match, but you could almost see the conversation they were having before that move happened because Keith Lee was saying something way too much, but I know they're trying to get in position for it, but they got to do a better job of working on ventriloquism like the Undertaker does or whatever else. But I just felt like something's going to happen here.
I think you're being a little unfair with the Undertaker because the Undertaker, first of all, long career. Secondly, the Undertaker was really bad about it too sometimes because I've heard him openly say things to people. So I mean, it just happened to be a bad camera angle that we could see it. It was unfortunate. It was neither of these guys have long hair to hide anything.
No, they don't.
They're both. I mean, damn near bald. It was, it is what it is. Like it would be like you and I trying to call a match on the fly. It was nothing. Yeah. Nothing's hiding anything at that point.
So that show ends. I thought it was a good show overall. I mean, it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah. It was. The problem is all these things are going to be on a curve because of no crowd, because of the limitation.
Yeah.
I thought for what they could do, I thought it was good. Is it my favorite NXT takeover ever? No, probably about a 7 out of 10.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So, but I did think there was some really good stuff on there that should be checked out.
Yeah. So then after that, Keith Lee loses. So we'll transition. We'll skip a day.
Oh man, Keith Lee is a stud in NXT, and then he shows up on Monday Night Raw to talk some smack to Randy Orton, who has attacked Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, so that's what's the problem. He's my friend.
Yeah, what's fine. I don't care about that. But my problem is this. First of all, a couple things. One, the music. Why?
Oh, that was terrible.
His Bask in His Glory music is so much better. It's so much better.
His gear did bask in the glory.
I know. And let's talk about his gear. Why all of a sudden does he have to wear a stupid shirt and loose-fitting shorts? Why can't he wear the tights he wore in NXT? Why is this because Vince doesn't think he looks good enough to be on TV? If that's the case, why'd you bring him up?
Yeah. By the way, Phil agrees. Not a fan of the music. That was dumb.
Super dumb. Everything about his presentation was terrible the first night. The changing of the gear, the changing of the music. I disliked every bit of it. Now, none of that has to do with Keith Lee. Lee himself comes out, delivers his promo well and everything. He has a match with Randy Orton that, I mean, is fine. He looks good in it for the 5 minutes it lasted before it ended in a DQ or whatever.
Let's read. He loses his debut match against Randy. I mean, it was a DQ, but
right.
But still. You couldn't find anybody else on the roster for him to wrestle where he could shine and look good. Do some spots. I mean,
my thing is this: I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with it. I wish you'd gone with at least like a double DQ finish or something like that, rather than a straight DQ where he loses because Drew McIntyre gets involved again.
Yeah.
I would have preferred something like, say, him and Orton are fighting outside of the ring. They're just going after each other and they miss the 10 count. You know what I mean? Give me something like that. Then Drew gets involved. You know, I just didn't like that he had to lose the match. But as far as coming out and immediately getting into a match with Randy Orton, even a match we're not going to get a real finish on, I'm fine with that because it automatically puts Keith Lee in the upper echelon of people. So if he comes out and he wrestles I don't know, give me a jobber. I don't even remember who's on Raw these days.
Well, I mean, not Andrade's in the angle right now because he would have been the guy who would have said he can come out.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, but somebody like that, he comes out and he beats somebody like that. I mean, it does nothing. It's like, all right, here's this guy who beat this guy everybody always beats.
Well, probably one of the Viking Raiders because they're jobbers.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
considering what happened last week.
You're not wrong. He comes out. He comes out and beats Mojo Rawley in 5 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever. And who cares? That does nothing for him. Keith Lee. The one credit I'm going to give them is bringing him out and immediately putting him in there with Randy Orton makes him look like a big deal. And being in the 5 minutes he was in the ring with Randy Orton, he was looking pretty good right up until it was towards the end. It looked like he was about to get RKO'd. I didn't love that finish. But you never know. Maybe he wasn't, because I'll be honest, anytime Randy sets up for the RKO, he doesn't hit it. So as far as I'm concerned, he wasn't going to get it. So in any event, not a great first week for Keith Lee, but I do like the fact they've immediately positioned him as an upper echelon guy.
That part I like, but give him, just throw him Dolph Ziggler to something where
they will next week, or something like that. It'll work out.
Don't put him in the underground.
Is that really all the underground is going to be? By the way, week after week now, I keep waiting for something real to happen on there, and nothing. There's nothing on there. This could be.
Okay, you know what will have it jump the shark even more if Shane McMahon starts fighting in these matches.
Well, you know what's funny is I'd buy Shane McMahon being a bigger badass in some of these fights than I would the wrestlers, because a lot of these wrestlers have no combat sports training. Shane McMahon does. He studies like Muay Thai and this, that, and the other thing. Like, he could actually kick somebody's ass. So it amuses me that Shane McMahon could legitimately beat a guy up. But it's just, I don't know. The whole thing so far serves no purpose, and we're like 3 or 4 weeks in at this point, and I am already done with it. So let's just move on from the Raw. I didn't enjoy Raw all that much. Let's move on to SummerSlam. It's time for SummerSlam. Right away. Let's talk about this. Apollo Crews versus MVP singles match for the United States Championship. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin banned from ringside.
Okay, tell me what you thought was going to happen in this match before we were disappointed.
Well, I thought MVP was going to win, to be perfectly honest, because
I thought so too. But I thought we were going to get a new member of the Pain group.
I thought so. Yes, I thought so too. I thought we'd get some other member of the Pain crew business.
Stipulation spelled it out perfectly. Like, well, somebody else is going to interfere.
Right, exactly. I thought we'd get somebody new because they've interacted with a few people here and there. I thought at some point maybe Cedric Alexander was going to join. I was thinking maybe there was a possibility he was going to do it, or I mean, it could be anybody really. But no,
one guy in the underground who's been kicking butt. Like that'd be the guy on one side.
Yeah, but maybe I guess Daba Kato or something like that. Daba Kato, or I don't remember his name, but he's a big scary dude. So
yeah, he is. But this match was it
was fine. It was just nothing impressive. It was nothing great.
Yeah. So that's what it was. So skip that match. And then
was that the preview show?
If you're at a pre-show, it's even made it less important.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm fine with that, because if that match had been on the main card, I'd have been disappointed.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, can we talk about the presentation of like what it looks like?
It looks fantastic.
I think they did a tremendous job. Hats off to the production crew.
This is the best one of their shows has looked in this COVID era.
Yeah. When they did the SmackDown on Friday, and it's outstanding.
This was incredible looking. I loved the pyro being back. I liked how the fan signs are being used for the entrances, or the fan Thunderdome screens are being used for the entrances. So good. I liked it a lot. I thought the presentation was amazing.
Yeah, they piped in the crowd noise, which
you know what? For some reason, on SummerSlam, not as bad as it has been on Raw and SmackDown. I don't know why they've been so off on Raw and SmackDown, but it was really okay on SummerSlam. And to be perfectly honest, it helped me a great deal, because having that random crowd noise, just the murmuring and the general noise when these matches are happening while the announcers are talking, huge difference. So huge difference. So I was a big fan of that being there. So again, presentation, they're getting a thumbs up for me. I thought they did a great job there.
Yeah, outstanding. I know AEW is going to do something different, I think, this week whenever Dynamite gets back.
I think they're doing live shows outside.
Yeah,
with people in attendance.
Yeah, but it's funny because had AEW done that first, and people are like, "Oh, it's the best thing ever." No, hats off to Raw and WWE for making.
And AEW's presentation may still be great when they do their outside shows. I mean, we're not saying that one's better than the other right now. Right now, WWE has set the standard for the shows during this pandemic.
Yeah, and I'm just making fun of AEW fans because they crap on everything. WWE.
But you know what? It goes both ways. You crap on AEW if you're a WWE fan. You crap on WWE if you're an AEW fan. I don't understand why you can't just be a wrestling fan, but that's me.
Yeah. So show starts. Oh, by the way, Patrine joins in saying that she thought Cedric would join the Hurt.
Steve Patrine's on my side. Thank you, Patrine. Smart lady, that Patrine.
Yeah. So the show started with Bayley with Sasha in her corner defending against Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Good match.
It was good. You know what? Bailey and Asuka, obviously, they fought in NXT a number of times. The chemistry is good. This is, Bailey's, took a year, finally got into her groove. But I enjoyed the match. I'm not surprised by the finish because of what is set up later on. Great job by both ladies in this match, and great angle afterwards with beating up Asuka, the setup for the later match.
Agreed. But a really good match. And like you said, it was a little telegraphed what was going to happen later. But that's not a bad thing. When the payoff is well done, it doesn't matter if I know it's coming.
That's what it's about. Because okay, this guy's going to win. But if you give me the good story,
exactly, which they did.
They did.
Which they did. Yes. Speaking of a great story, it wasn't here.
Andrade and Angel Garza for the Raw Tag Team Championship. It's weird because I guess it's the payback for the poisoning angle, which was stupid.
So stupid. This was so dumb. Though I saw somebody online say that they were like, "Oh, this has been the worst tag team title feud in recent memory," and I was like, "I'm sorry, did we forget the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits? Did everybody just forget that was a thing? Because I remembered and it was terrible." It was god awful. The feud is not good. The match was okay. It ended up being. By the way, can we make up our minds if it's going to be Andrade who is with Zelina Vega and leaving Garza, or vice versa? Because we seem to be going back and forth on this.
Yeah, they're just dragging it out because they're not sure.
They don't know how to do splits anymore because we've been waiting for Bayley and Sasha to split for 3 years.
Which I think is happening, probably a payback this weekend. But it was almost like they're teasing us, and it's like, they can't decide. Like, we need tag teams, so we can't split them up because then it's going to be a one-sided feud, or we don't want to do 50-50 booking. And
speaking of tag teams, you brought up payback where they're going to split up Asuka Sasha and Bayley, and it looks like they're going to have to defend the titles against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Furious about the fact that Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax are probably going to be the team to take the tag titles off.
Yeah, who absolutely hate each other. Yeah.
They hate each other, and they've never tagged together before. And as far as I'm concerned, Shayna Baszler's done next to no tag team wrestling to begin with.
Yeah.
In her WWE stint.
Teaming up with Jasmine and Marina, but
you mean Jasmine?
Jasmine, yeah. By the way, Sean DeGroff says the Viking Profits.
Yeah, god awful.
But you're right with that. And they're going to split up because they're going to get mad, which sets up Bayley defending against Sasha.
Right.
Some pay-per-vieiew.
But this tag title match, again, it was fine. It just wasn't, it didn't really move the needle for me much. It was just it happened.
Okay, the next match was a huge disappointment for me, and I have to make an edit because I have the words hair versus hair match in there. And that's
yes. Well, they changed that on us.
They did the bait and switch because it became a loser leaves town match.
Yeah.
So you take out the heat for that. Now, loser leave town matches are usually a pretty big deal. But obviously, it got, and I didn't look at the story of why it switched. Maybe because Sonya's got to deal with some legal issues all of a sudden.
But even if she had to deal with legal issues, she wouldn't have to leave the company. They've done that before. I don't know if she's just leaving because of what happened to her. Because did you address it last week?
Yeah, we did with the attempted kidnapping and stuff. Which, by the way, Mandy Rose was at her house when that happened too.
Yeah.
Situation.
Awful
situation. The guy, in jail, no bail, thankfully.
Horrible situation. I don't know if she just maybe mentally doesn't want to be in the public eye, you know what I mean, or something like that after this. I genuinely don't know. Or is she going to pop back up in a couple months?
Well, she's going to come back at some point, because I thought like when they did.
Well, you say that, but she went online later and did this big thank you goodbye thing. So I don't know if she's legitimately done or not. We're gonna have to find out if she gets let out of her contract.
Yeah. I don't know. Because maybe the situation, maybe it's just kind of a freaky situation. Hey, I need to move. I need to do
and it's entirely possible there's something else we don't know about.
Yeah,
it's entirely possible there's something else we don't know about. But again, the match happened. I was bummed because A, somebody had to leave, and B, it wasn't Mandy.
No,
I hate to be that guy, but I love Sonya.
I will say this: I'm not sure about Mandy's new outfit. Mandy can't set up a table the same.
That was painful to watch. That was not good.
I will say this. I did like the spot where she slid the chairs on the table. I thought that was great.
I thought that was fun. I thought that was fun.
Redemption. But can't set up a table.
Her jumping knee, by the way, is the Roman Reigns Superman punch of the women's division, and I'm tired of it. She did it 5 times in that one match, and I was over it. I pointed it out to my girlfriend while we were watching it. I was like, this is killing me here.
I was so let down by this match for being a grudge match and everything else. And maybe just mentally with everything that happened.
Yeah, maybe
they give them a pass because they're both involved in that situation. That maybe they just wanted to get through it. They don't want anybody.
They worked hard. They definitely worked hard and tried. It just didn't. It might have.
I'm gonna give them a pass.
I'm gonna give him a little bit of a pass. Yeah, I'm still gonna say it wasn't my least favorite match of the night. It just disappointed me, like you said.
Yeah, when they announced that it was going to be a loser leaves town match, I did think that maybe Mandy's going to lose, and then Mandy's going to come back, but she's going to be in a mask or she's going to be something. To the point where Sandy says, "Okay, I'll let you back."
Right.
So that may be with this. We see Otis after the match. We see the worst attempt at a caterpillar ever.
Oh my gosh! By the way, completely forgot he was Mr. Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I couldn't remember last week. I was trying to remember who he was.
When he runs out with that briefcase and drops it on the mat, I went, "Oh my God, Otis is Mr. Money in the Bank!" I can't believe that. I still forgot.
Yeah, Johnson's Mandy versus Sonya should have been in the kickoff. I don't know about that.
Yes and no. As far as the match itself, maybe. As far as the storyline and how much time it had been given, no.
I thought they did a great job. Which, by the way, I do like Mandy's.
They worked hard.
I thought Mandy's haircut. I like that haircut.
You like the short hair?
Yeah.
I like the longer hair, but that's just me.
Yeah. So, but just skip that match. The next match was I'm not talking about another good debut.
Another good debut. Dominic Mysterio versus Seth Rollins in a street fight. Wow. Just what a great story in the match was told.
A very good story. I give Seth Rollins a lot of credit because I don't think
he 100% walked Dominic through that match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He without a doubt helped him get through that match efficiently. But Dominic, again, and it's just like I said about Pat McAfee, he held up his end of the bargain. He performed well. He performed well under pressure. And he had a great debut. He did,
yeah. The frog splash, and then he missing it, and
At this point, match of the night for me.
Yeah, it was really good. Jordan loved it as well,
and it was vicious.
Yes,
it was vicious and intense, which is what I want in a street fight, in a blood feud like this.
But I like it wasn't just that. It was like the mental part of it with Mother coming out.
But that's what I mean. The viciousness of Seth Rollins and everything. It wasn't. And now I'm not talking about just the brutality, physically, but the viciousness of, you said, he was going towards the mom, and even I'm sitting in my seat going, all right, somebody has to do something. This can't happen. Somebody has to do something.
Yeah, Murphy looked great in the match. Which is always hard when you got a group and it's it's always the sub guy doesn't look good. I thought Murphy looked outstanding in the match, and and Ray. It's kind of weird because this whole feud has almost been one-sided.
Remember when there was a third member of Seth Rollins' group?
Yeah, the mystery suspension of one Austin Theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him come back. I kind of miss him.
Yeah, I kind of like that him in the group because I oh man, but something happened. But they didn't say what. I'm trying to figure out.
Was he suspended or is he just off TV?
Well, Meltzer is trying to figure out that he was suspended. I know, but I'm trying to. I got to cite my sources.
Meltzer legitimately said the other day about what was it? He talked about what was it? I saw one of his reports and I can't remember what it was now because it was literally the worst report ever. It was I'm getting reports that it's this, but if it's not that, then it could be anything. Well, what does that mean? That means nothing. I think it might. It killed
this
me.
Guy, but it might be somebody else. Anyway, Jordan weighs in and says Dominic will be a world champion someday. I could see it. And took him off from the grow. I don't know if he's going to spend all his time in WWE, because you can't put him in NXT.
You could. I think when Ray's done being full-time, if Dominic's not an integral part of WWE main roster, I think you can move him to NXT easily. Matter of fact, I think you could do it easily anyway. When they're done with this feud with Seth, I think you could move him down there anyway, because I think you could spin an easy story about this is the best place for you to learn to be who you're going to be. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Ray could leave him there to do that. And Dominic could stand on his own 2 feet and grow into a character.
I would be fine with that.
I would too. Yeah.
All right, the next match of the night, and I thought it was enjoyable, but I just felt bad because like Asuka had to go back twice to the injury angle. But
I thought it was I thought this was a fantastic match as well. I love the first one. I love this one.
This match needed the crowd. By the way, hats off to Asuka for
two long matches.
Yeah, and Sasha, the storytelling in this was just outstanding, and then the ending.
Yeah. I loved at one point when she tried to put Asuka away and she goes over to Bayley and she's literally like almost crying, saying, I can't do this. I can't. And Bayley's having to talk her back into finishing this match. You know what I mean? Which ends up her walking into a losing situation. And I enjoyed that because it goes to the entitlement of Banks and, this, that, and the other thing. But I thought Asuka, like you said, did such a good job. It was so well worked and just good for them.
The reversal. When I think she was going for the Asuka lock and the Sasha reversed it, the flip, which was well done because almost kind of made me like, man, I wish Asuka did that with Becky, but man, that was a great spot, and it's like, oh man, maybe they both retain, and then it goes on.
And then Asuka turns it around back to the Asuka lock, which was great.
I
loved what was it? Did Sasha go for like a? What was it, like a shooting, like a frog?
She did
for something.
She did a frog splash too, yeah.
Well, she went for, I can't remember what it was. She went for something, and Asuka caught her in a knee bar, like she jumped up and grabbed her.
Yeah.
Caught her,
and
that was beautiful. And then I love the one where she ran at her in the ring, like they're running at each other, and they collide like in midair, and Asuka turns that into the arm bar. And I was like, that was awesome. Like Asuka was this was the Asuka I haven't seen in so long. Before she lost to Charlotte Flair, this is the Asuka I want back on the main roster all of the time.
Yeah, because people complain or whatever. But no, this is great, and let her run that show on Raw, and she's eventually can take care of Nia, and and Shayna. Maybe they can trade some title wins. Between bummed that Sasha lost, but
if it's a pay-per-view, Sasha's losing. If Sasha has a title and she has to defend it, she's losing.
But she is going to get it back, not Asuka's, but eventually Bayley's.
Probably Bayley's, probably.
At some pay-per-view, but an enjoyable
really good match.
On that, and then the next match was for the WWE Championship with Drew McIntyre taking on Randy Orton.
Surprisingly, not the main event of the evening, but okay.
No, but
then when I saw the ending of the other one, it'll make sense.
Yeah.
The Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought these two worked a really good match against each other. There was intensity to it. Orton didn't seem to be kind of resting, which he does sometimes. I was worried when he locked in his side headlock on the ground. I told my girlfriend, I was like, oh, man, I hope this isn't one of those Orton matches.
You're slaying out the match.
Luckily, they didn't stay in it for long. They kept working. They worked real hard. And I loved that he beat him with a backslide.
Yeah, because when's the last time you've seen that?
Probably Kerry Von Erich versus Ric Flair.
I go a little bit later. Lex Luger, Mr. Perfect, WrestleMania 9. But
all right, fair enough. Yeah,
but same window of a few years apart.
I always think of that match, though. I always think of Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair.
But that is the better one.
When I see somebody win with a backslide, you know what I mean?
Well, the one you mentioned is definitely the better one because that was the one that you never saw that before. Then
yeah. But it was a great counter and it worked. And I love finishes like that because they come out of nowhere and they prove to you the match can end at any time, which is what you need for drama in the pinfalls. Because if I think that if I'm conditioned to wait for the finisher, then I'm not going to pop for other pins.
Yeah. Sean said that you didn't see that finish coming either. Oh, which by the way, I give Randy credit for dunking the kick.
Oh, the Claymore, yeah.
Claymore, yeah, because usually it's it's one that it's always the end. It's like, oh, he missed that, and they did a great job. Where how about this? You get a 20-minute match where nobody hits their finisher and nobody's kicking out of two.
When was the last time we saw that? Nobody hitting a finisher and not kicking out of it. What's gonna be great is when they get to a rematch. It's really going to be if either of these guys hits their finisher once, it's over.
It has to be, yes.
And that to me, that's great. That is great storytelling. I love it. Drew's
best match since holding the title.
Yes, absolutely.
And Randy's been motivated since Edge's come back.
Yes.
I would say so. So one match left in the card.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean the the main event of the evening. Gonna pull in my fancy mic here. The main event of the evening. I got my you like my Mr. Kennedy style mic.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nice. You know, you need to bring it down.
I wish I thought about it. I just can't. There's no way to make it work right now. I would have loved to have done that.
Braun Strowman, the Universal Champion, defending against the Fiend, Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
The Fiend's one of his better matches.
Yeah, because it was an actual match.
Yes.
Because it was a fight. It wasn't cinematic. It was an actual match, and it was a fight. And he was fighting somebody believable that could really bring it to him.
Yeah, they need to stick with this kind of Fiend matches, please.
I agree.
Thank you for no red lighting. I don't know if the match changed because when that table did break on that spot when Braun tried to throw Bray through the table and the table didn't break, but Bray's back looked like it did.
Yeah, that looked rough. But he hopped up from it pretty quickly, so I'll give him credit.
He did, but yeah.
I'll say this. I do appreciate, like, there's going to be a certain amount of no-selling from characters like the Fiend and Braun Strowman and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I appreciated that it wasn't over the top. It wasn't the monster movie type no-selling that we see in a lot of the Fiend matches.
When the toolbox came out, I'm like, oh, here we go.
This might have been one of the Fiend's best singles matches. His other one probably against Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, the strap.
Yeah. But I thought this one was good. I didn't think Falls Count Anywhere was necessary, but
because they didn't really do anything about it. They went to one spot. Because I'm thinking like this match is going to end with shenanigans.
Right. I thought so too. Yeah.
And I'm like,
and everybody was so butthurt about like Alexa Bliss not being involved, and I'm like, nobody told you she was going to be involved. You just decided she was going to be.
But I thought maybe like that could have
I thought maybe so too.
The bookend of that and just put an end to that chapter.
I thought maybe so too, but clearly not. And so we'll see if anything happens there. There's still more to the story. They've announced a 3-way between Braun Strowman and the Fiend, who won the match and is now the Universal Champion, and the returning Roman Reigns, who speared the hell out of the Fiend after that match. And
great comeback. Did not see it coming. That was
did not see it coming. If you say you saw it coming, you're a liar.
Yeah,
or you've been saying every show since he left. I'll bet he shows up at this one. Like people with CM Punk. He'll be like,
or Luke Harper showing up.
Yes. But if Roman Reigns comes back, he looks intense, and I don't know what a character he's playing right now. He was kind of ruthless.
Well, I asked a question on our Facebook page. I said, would you describe Roman Reigns as a heel or face after his actions at SummerSlam? Jeffrey Dietz, who, by the way, messaged and said he couldn't join us for the show, said he's just a face with a chip on his shoulder. Until we see him spear some actual faces, he's definitely not a full heel yet. Now, he says, if the crowd was around, think about this. He said it wouldn't be as divisive because even if it was being a heel, the crowd would cheer for it, and you'd have another Becky Lynch in their hands.
I'd say yes and no because they're not
people liked Becky before all that went.
They did, but it's not just that. People aren't going to cheer him over the Fiend.
No.
People like the Fiend. They think the character is crazy and fun, and they love the entrance. But by the way, the entrance was amazing at SummerSlam. The Fiend's entrance was incredible.
Okay, I do have. Patrine thinks that Alexa would have joined the Fiend,
and a lot of people do, and she still might. There's still that possibility. Although we need to remember that Nikki Cross, who was Alexa's friend, seems to have turned heel recently, or at least started to go down that road. And we haven't seen her for a little bit. So would anybody be shocked if it ended up being her joining the Fiend?
Well, she didn't appear on SmackDown, but
did she? I don't remember.
She didn't wrestle though. Just in the segment talking about what's going on. So Adam Watson says neither. Roman's his own thing. Paul Lewis says heel on charismatic, but nonetheless the heel. Philip Kilgore says, I think he's a heel based on the way he acts.
These guys that say uncharismatic kill me because the idea that Roman Reigns doesn't have charisma is just patently false. It's just wrong. You're just mistaken. He has charisma. He has been booked terribly, and he was given god-awful scripts. I'm sorry. Yeah. Dean Ambrose complained about that at length when he left WWE, about how he had to go out there and read the dumbest crap he had ever seen, and he wasn't allowed to change it. Who do you think came up with Suffer and Succotash? Because it sure as hell wasn't Roman.
No, and face mask and getting shots and stuff, which, by the way, that character would be perfect in this day and age.
Oh, in this day and age, he's a babyface. He's a big baby face in this day and age.
Yeah, he's ahead of his time.
All
So
right,
I don't know.
We got to wrap this up.
Yeah, Sean says Nikki Cross will return as sister.
It's possible. Possible.
But Roman's back. I guess we'll see what happens in his yard. But if he has that same kind of attitude, I'm fine. There's no crowds around, so let it happen.
Yeah, agreed.
Not it was a good show.
I enjoyed. It was the best show they've done since this COVID era thing started.
True. Yes. Yeah. I give it like an 8. I mean, when I go back and it's a solid 8. I think
it's a solid 8. It's a good show. It's a good show. You could, if you haven't seen it, I recommend watching it. Also, love that it ended before 11.
Yes. By the way, I got a couple of emails here.
Rapid fire, Dave. Here we go.
Okay, here we go. We surprised we didn't see Retribution at SummerSlam. It's Billy from Lakewood asking that. Lakewood, Colorado. So, we surprised didn't see Retribution.
Yes, surprised. Yes, surprised, not disappointed.
Yeah, but maybe we did. Maybe Roman's the leader.
No, please stop it. Just you've killed his return already.
Do you think it's because there's no crowd, it's easier to make Roman a heel?
No, I think it'd be easy to make him a heel with them there.
Because they're going to boo him anyway?
I think it's easier to make him a face with no crowd.
And one other one, do you think after the Keith Lee debut with Kansas Stress, is he already ruined in the
No. One night is not going to ruin Keith Lee. If one bad night could ruin somebody, Daniel Bryan never would have main evented WrestleMania 30. I mean, you can have a bad night, a bad debut, this, that, and the other thing, and still end up, being great. You just need that moment. You just need those moments. He just needs a chance to shine and really win people over.
Yeah. And, with no audience, give it time. They're not gonna dump on it. So you mentioned Payback is coming up. So holy cow, that's like
next week. So we'll have another review for you next week.
Well, are we going to preview this on Friday, or is this? Yeah,
probably. We'll preview Friday.
Hey, by the way, I'm not missing the Saudi shows, by the way.
I'm not either.
I thought about that today. It's like, oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm not either. But yes, we'll preview Payback on Friday because why not? Because let's have a show the next week after we had a show. It's a great plan.
Gotta get used to the venue, I guess, and pump out the show.
Yes,
got some, things to do by.
Okay. But in any event, thank you for joining us so much tonight. Whether you're on Facebook or Twitter, remember ESPR 99. Easiest way to follow us on both of those. Just give us a like on the like button or follow on Twitter. That works as well.
And notifications.
Yes, notifications on. And remember to search for us, ESPR Wrestling, on all your podcasting apps, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iTunes, Stitcher, Google, everywhere you find podcasts. It is that easy. Email us, ESPR@FM99.com if you get any questions. As you see,
appreciate those. Appreciate
we take them. Yep.
This was a good one. So thank you.
By all means, send them on in. We want to hear from you guys. And again, Friday we will be back to preview Payback. And we'll feel like we just did this, but we'll be back doing it again on Friday. And so make sure you're around. I think it'll be Friday at 10.
Yeah, after SmackDown.
After SmackDown, so we have all the tea, as the kids say.
Yeah, because they might change the card. They might have like 5 stipulations added in the next another match with Mandy Rose and somebody else. Who knows?
Yeah, all of a sudden. In any event, yes. So we'll be back Friday, 10 p.m. Until that time, make sure, oh dear God, Sean DeGroff says the Miz is the leader of Retribution. On that note, I'm going to go vomit. And until next week, eat, sleep, podcast, and
repeat. Good night, everybody.